CSB Radio Classic. Jah peaks again. Inferno camp.
Return of Elijah Gospel Truth presents Who is the Antichrist with Baba Shukube. Today we are going to talk about the Antichrist. The topic is Who is the Antichrist? 1 John 2 verse 18 and 22, little children, it is the last time. And as ye have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time. Have heard that Antichrist shall come, even now, who is a liar, but he that deny that Jesus is the Christ. He is Antichrist that deny the Father and the Son. Daniel 7. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of the heavens strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given to it. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. Babylon, Media, Persia, Grecia, and Rome, these great beasts, which are 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth. But the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. Then I would know the truth of the 4th beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Verse 23, thus he said, The 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. 24, and the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and dominion, and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven, shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitation much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me. But I kept the matter in my heart. God gave Daniel a vision which revealed events to take place for many centuries beyond his day. In Daniel 7, God pictures under appropriate symbols the rise and fall of nations from the time of Daniel on down to the rise of the Antichrist. We who study the words of God are always concerned about the rise and work of the Antichrist power. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. His throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were opened. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and time. Then I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven, and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him near before him. And there was given him dominion and glory and a kingdom, that all people, nations, and languages should serve him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion, which shall not pass away, and his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed. I, Daniel, was grieved in my spirit in the midst of my body, and the visions of my head troubled me. I came near unto one of them that stood by, and asked him the truth of all this. So he told me, and made me know the interpretation of the things, what was seen by Daniel in the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream, and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night the four great beasts, beast number one, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it. Beast number two, and I behold another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they say thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. Beast number 3 after this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. After this I saw in the night vision Daniel's dreams, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. Beast number 4, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Daniel 7, verse 1 to 8. Daniel was shown 4 beasts diverse from one another. They came up out of the sea. The 4th beast had 10 horns, and finally a little horn came up out of the 10. What 3 sets of symbols did Daniel see? He was shown the sea, 4 beasts, 4 winds striving on the sea. Thus said the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will break the bow of Elam, the chief of their might. And upon Elam will I bring the 4 winds from the 4 quarters of heaven, and will scatter them towards all those winds, and there shall be no nation whither the outcasts of Elam shall not come. For I will cause Elam to be dismayed before their enemies, and before them that seek their life. And I will bring evil upon them, even my fierce anger, saith the Lord. And I will send the sword after them till I have consumed them. What do winds symbolize in Bible prophecy? Jeremiah 51 said, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me, a destroying wind. Verse 11 said, Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirits of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. In prophecy, winds stand for fighting, political commotion, and war. The striving of the winds in this prophecy picture the rise of kingdoms and their fall. These events are accomplished through political strife. What is sea or waters meant in prophesy? Revelation 17, verse 15. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Isaiah 17, verse and 13:12. Woe to the multitude of many people which make noise like the noise of the sea, and the rushing of nations, that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but God shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far off, and shall be traced as the chaff of the mountains before the wind, and like a rolling thing before the whirlwind. What do the 4th beast represent? These great beasts, which are 4 kings, which shall arise out of the earth. Thus he said, The 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. Daniel 7, verse 17 and 23. The 4th kingdoms, the great image of Daniel 2, made of 4 metals, represented 4 kingdoms. The 4 beasts represent the same 4 kingdoms: Babylon, Medo-Persia, Grecia, Rome. The 4th kingdom is divided into 10 parts. 26, the four kingdoms, Babylon, Medo, Persia, Grecia, Rome. What does the 10 horns symbolize? And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. And another shall rise after them. And he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Daniel 7 verse 24. The 10 kings mentioned here represent 10 kingdoms is not left to conjecture. Speculation. In verse 17, the 4 beasts are said to represent 4 kings, and the 4th beast is specifically called the 4th kingdom. Since the 4 horns in Daniel 8 verse 24 are called 4 kingdoms, it is reasonable to assume that these 10 horns are 10 kingdoms also. What did Daniel says about the first beast? According to Daniel 7 verse 4, it was a lion, and it had eagle's wings, and finally a man's heart was given to it. The eagle's wings represent the rapid conquest of Babylon. The Bible said in Deuteronomy 28 verse 49, the Lord shall bring an nation and against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle fleeth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. What the Bible says concerning the bear. In Daniel 7 verse 5, the bear is represented with ribs in its mouth. These symbolize the conquest by Medo-Persia, Babylon, Lydia, and Egypt. What does the prophet say concerning the 3rd beast? He mentioned in chapter 7 verse 6, it was like a leopard. Its 4 wings represent unparalleled rapidity of movement. This was true of the Grecian kingdom. The 4 heads are the 4 parts of the Grecian empire divided after Alexander's death. Among his 4 leading generals they were Cassander, Lysimachus, Ptolemy. What description is given concerning the 4th beast? This beast is described in Daniel 7 verse 7 as dreadful and strong. It had great iron teeth. This beast had 10 horns representing, as did the 10 toes of the image in Daniel 2. The 10 divisions of Western Europe, namely Alemanni, Germany, Ostrogoths, Visigoths, Spain, Franks, France, Vandals, Suevi, Portugal, Burgundians, Switzerland, Heruli, Anglo-Saxons, England, Lombards, Italy. What came up among the 10 horns, the nations of Europe? According to Daniel 7 verse 8 and 24, there came up the little horn power, which had eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. Blasphemy. This depicts the rise of the papacy, because the Heruli, Ostrogoths, and Vandals opposed the teaching and claims of the papal hierarchy. The papal power became supreme when they were plucked up. The word of God said, it shall subdue 3 kingdoms, Daniel 7 verse 24. The little horn was to be different from the 10 horns, indicating she would be a religious power operating, particularly in the realm of religion, as well as in political affairs. The papacy succeeded in uprooting the Heruli in AD 534 and the Ostrogoths in AD 538. What 4 specifications are mentioned in this prophecy which identify the papacy as the Antichrist? The Bible said, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time. Daniel 7 verse 5, 2 important identifying marks are time and place. The little horn came up after the dissolution of the Roman Empire in the West, AD 476. Has the papacy done all that the little horn power was to do? Yes. The Bible said, he shall speak great words against the Most High. The Pope has assumed titles belonging only to God. The following are what people said about the Pope. The Pope is of so great dignity and so exalted that he is not a mere man, but as it were God, and the vicar of God. The Pope is as it were God on earth, sole sovereign of the faithful of Christ, chief of kings, having plenitude of power, to whom has been entrusted by the omnipotent God direction, not only of the earthly, but also of the heavenly kingdom. The Bible said, the world wondered after the beast. Revelation 13 verse 3. People look up to the Pope as a god, and he accepts that type of credit. Persecution shall wear out the saints of the Most High. This is a picture of relentless persecution. It is conservatively estimated that during Middle Ages, 50 million martyrs were put to death by the papal sword. The Inquisition was both the creation and tool of the papal power for killing Christians. Will think to change times and laws. According to Daniel 2 verse 21, it is God who has the nations in control, and it is his prerogative alone to change times. For the little horn to endeavor to change times is to exercise the role of God in an attempt to shape history. How has the papacy attempted to change laws? Look at the apostasy of the early Christian centuries, at which time many doctrines and practices contrary to God's will were introduced. The papacy freely admits She is responsible for making Sunday a day of worship. Deception Lucius Ferraris, a Roman Catholic, said, "The Pope is of so great authority and power that he can modify, explain, or interpret even divine laws." IBID. In almost any Catholic catechism, the second commandment is completely taken out, the 10th is divided into two, and the 4th is changed. Blasphemy, and they shall be given into his hand till a time and times in the dividing of time. Here God is careful to mark off the time of papal supremacy. In the Aramaic, the word translated time in Daniel 4, 16, 23, 25, 32 means a year. Times comes from the same word as time, and most scholars agree this stands for 2 times or 2 years. The word which is translated dividing may be translated half. Thus the little horn power was to be supreme for a time. A day in prophecy means 1 year when King Nebuchadnezzar was deposed until 7 times passed over him. Daniel 4:25, this was a period of 7 years. In prophetic reckoning, there are 28 days to the month, or 364 days for 1 year. 13. Months are in the year. A day in prophecy means 1 year, therefore 3½ times would be 1,260 days. In Revelation 12 verse 14, God's church is said to be in seclusion for a time, and times, and half a time. In Revelation 12 verse 6, God explains this to be 1,260 days. The rule for interpreting prophetic time is each day for a year, according to Ezekiel 4 verse 4 to 6. Papal supremacy. The period of papal supremacy began in AD 538, when the Ostrogoths, the last of the 3 opposing powers, were rooted up. The closing of the 1,260 years would be in 1798. On February 10 that year, the French army under the leadership of Berthier entered Rome and took the Pope prisoner. Papal supremacy, therefore, since the papacy has spoken great words against God, persecuted and put to death the saints, tampered with God's holy laws, and was dominant power for 1,260 years as predicted, she is undoubtedly the little horn power to which the prophecy points. This prophecy is not speaking against personalities. We should always remember that there are many fine persons in this communion who love the Lord of heaven and earth, but it is speaking about the papal system and its actions. Prophecy Daniel 7 verse 9 to 10, here God reveals the beginning of the judgment. In Daniel 7, the final judgment is mentioned 3 times. Verses 10, 22, and 26, God's eternal kingdom is mentioned 4 times. In verses 14, 18, 22, and 27, it is evident that while Satan has waged a long warfare against God's commandments, yet Christ will have the final word. On which side will you stand in the conflict between truth and error? Who is on the Lord's side? Exodus 32 verse 26, make your very own the decision of Joshua. In Joshua 24 verse 15, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord thy God.